You surely must have seen a Pokemon so weird once that made you go, what the f is that? Well, so have I. I went to each particular region and handpicked the ones that appeared to me as the strangest, and I am now ready to share that with you. Let's begin with the Kanto region. Our first contender is Execute. It's just a bunch of eggs, and I remain baffled when I try to think about how they control their movements. Is there like a hive mentality where one is superior over the others, and in that case, it probably would be the central one? Just look at that aura emanated by it. Or does it work like Alien X from Ben 10, like they'll have to be in agreement to make a decision? One of them is also fucking dead, you can see its brain, bro has no conscience. Can you separate them? There's this TCG card where all of them are shown by themselves. What if you steal one of them? They all have to be together to work or evolve. Do they sense the same pain? I'm sorry for making another Ben 10 reference, only 1 minute into the video, but I can't help just picturing Ditto. Not that kind of Ditto, this one, when thinking about the eggs. And the cherry on top is its evolution. How does it make sense in the slightest? The eggs hatch into a fucking palm tree, and the coconuts are the faces. 3 of them even die along the way. We go from 6 to 3. That's 50% survival rate on evolution, if you also count Mojo Jojo over here in the corner. All the brain exposed and shit. Jinx has always been too weird for me. It's the human-shaped Pokemon which just makes me feel really uncomfortable after what I know about people's obsession with Vaporeon. Having another Pokemon that has any attachment to a human in any way is a pure nightmare. And it just looks off. Like a purple blob so human randomly in the wild, and then try to replicate its appearance. We also got Hypno. This one's design is nothing out of the ordinary, but what caught my attention and made me go, what the fuck, is its 5-red entry. It carries a pendulum-like device. There once was an incident in which it took away a child it hypnotized. Excuse me, what? When it comes to the sophomore region of the franchise, I think the answer is quite obvious. Unknown. The Pokemon whose name I always spell wrong because I forget that it's not like the word unknown, but finally, I spelled the word unknown like the name of the Pokemon. It has ruined stuff for me, as you can see. This Pokemon has a whole alphabet worth of forms. I see people doing challenges to catch all shiny forms, but to me, it has always looked like a can of SpaghettiOs. It also is a Psychic type, which feels so off to me, because in my mind, it's one of the most normal type looking Pokemon. Speaking of normal Psychic types, this generation also gave us Girafarig, one of the weirdest concepted Pokemon. It's a mixture between a giraffe, that's obvious, but then what follows? A zebra maybe? I assume, with some dinosaur shit because of those back formations, and what the fuck is that bumper on its ass? Like bro, who got you smiling like that? Castform is really weird. This Pokemon changes its typing depending on the surrounding weather. If it's sunny then fire, rainy to water, and snowy to ice. Besides its face being the one of a raccoon, with that mask and its jingle bells just hanging around there, I do not see the purpose of this Pokemon. The stats are okay, I guess. They're all perfectly balanced between all the forms, but just feels so much like filler Pokemon. When I stare at those two balls, my mind just screams Episode 7 Season 2 of Stranger Things. It's there, mostly everyone just keeps on it, cause it breaks the pace and it feels like it doesn't add much to anything. There's also Love Disc, an underwater creature that's just a flat heart. Of course there are gonna be some filler water Pokemon with all that fucking ocean of a map. The base generation brings us Rotom, an electric spirit that can possess different household appliances, like an oven, a washing machine, a fridge, a fan, and a lawnmower. I love this fucker. It's so creative and I like the typing. The normal form is electric and ghost, and the other form switch out the ghost typing for a different one, causing some cool combos. I don't really see him in people's squads and it's a shame. It's not bad, and the creativity with this one is a breath of fresh air from Love Disc. It even became an important member of their arsenal in Gen 7 when we got the Rotom Dex. I love the way they went with him in the games and the anime with that region. This little guy rules. Probopass is also a weird addition to the roster. I cannot get over his hairy massive nose. It's ingrained in my head. And who can forget Drifloon? Its appearance doesn't earn him a spot on this list, he's just a floating balloon, but his Pokédex entry just casually drops the fact that it likes to kidnap children. Why are there so many child kidnapping related stories? We have 2 in 4 generations already. Man, this franchise really is something, isn't it? We also got Spiritomb, which first of all has an amazing design, but the curious part about it is that it's made out of 108 souls, all bound to a keystone. How does that work? You can encounter multiple of them? How many souls have been sentenced to this punishment? It's a very grim Pokemon when you think about it. Well, Unova brings us Trash, which might be a subtle foreshadowing as to the quality of this region as a whole. But yeah, Trubbish is just a bag of trash with eyes and crooked teeth. It just looks like there is simply, without a shadow of a doubt, not a single thought behind those eyes. Its evolution is cooler though, it's just this big pile of garbage. I remember an episode from the Sun and Moon seasons where Team Skull Grunt didn't know he had to take care of his Garbodor and clean it up, so his arms cannons were clogged and he had to clean them. That episode triggered my senses in all the ways I wouldn't have wanted them to. We also got Stunfisk, which is just a flat, sad looking flop of a trap. I always just thought it was an electric fish, but no, it's a trap, even though it does not show it. I love this thing about the Galar region, where they gave this guy a form and made it look like a bear trap, something that should have been obviously done from the beginning, and in those games, they're even lying around in caves and you can interact with them. That's creative usage of an otherwise shit design. And I'm sorry if I'm being petty, but who the fuck has a team made out of a Serperior, Crocodile, Darmanitan, Zoroark, Caracosta, and then he's like, who could complete my team? Oh, fucking Stunfisk. It just looks like a sad pancake. Like, ugh. The region that gave us the Great Green Ninja, who has one of the most unique interactions with Ash in the whole anime, has also given us Klefki, a set of keys. You can tell that they're running more and more out of ideas as the franchise keeps on pumping out region after region. They're just adding stuff for the sake of it and taking inanimate objects and Pokemonizing them. We also got Barbacle, which looks interesting. The collective Pokemon. Well, that's a certain way to put it. A Pokemon made out of barnacles that has too many hands for me to trust it. Like, there's a set amount of hands someone can have before you stop trusting them. And this guy has passed the limit. Also, they have eyes. What in the Pants Labyrinth is this shit? The Hawaiian region gives us Bruxish, one of the most cursed looking Pokemon I've seen. Why does it have teeth and lipstick on? Just look at it. It's apparently based on this real life monstrosity called the parrotfish, and if it were up to me, I'd say take care of both of them. When have we as a species ever felt like we needed a parrotfish? It's the first time I've ever heard of them. Pyukumuku is also a thing, the sea cucumber Pokemon. A sea cucumber can be one of the most cursed things you'll ever see in your life, and then basing a Pokemon off of it, who doesn't really do much in general, is just meh. It just has a monotone expression on its face and a bizarre Pokédex entry on how it uses its internal organs as some sort of self-defense mechanism. We used to have butterflies and wasps. When the hell did we go to sea cucumbers? The British region gave us SQ, which I am yet to know how it should be pronounced. This little penguin has a massive block of ice on its head, which is cartoony as fuck. But from time to time that ice block shatters and it reveals a confused and worried look. It has a cool ability though. It can tank a hit without taking any damage thanks to the ice, kind of like Mimikyu's disguise. Dracovish is also a personal choice of mine. I like all these merged fossils, and I think the idea to do it is very cool. My favorite is Dracozolt, but Dracovish has a design that simply screams, put me down, it hurts to live. That facial expression I cannot quite make out, but it doesn't seem pleasant, and that contorted body with the pelvic area missing. They done cut Bro's balls off and made him a weird hunchback of Notre Dame looking ass. The franchise also contradicts itself, because its shield entry clearly says that Dracovish is unable to breathe unless it's underwater, so for it to make sense, you have to get it a SpongeBob water fishbowl type thingy, but then its strong jaw ability would be fucking useless, so I even add that breathing part. It wasn't necessary at all, it just creates continuity gaps like that. The region with the most horrifying and disappointing looking games in the franchise brings us this fucker, Wiglet. This tiny water whatever it is copies the Diglett. It's not related to it at all, it's not a Diglett Paldean form, it's just a random fucker. I have no clue why they didn't just give Diglett a Paldean form instead, but okay. This is not like Mimikyu, where it was creative and that Pikachu hood was just a costume for the monster form. This is just a copy-paste filler Pokemon to upgrade the roster number. Well, this has been it. After doing this video, I've noticed that the most popular trend with these entries is the fact they don't have an evolutionary line. They are the sole members of their cycle, which proves even further the fact that they were one-off random design Pokemon to make the roster bigger, which is fine after some time. It doesn't hurt anyone, I guess, but man, there sure are some weird ones, either by design or by backstory. I'm sorry, but I'm still stuck on execute. How the hell does this consciousness work? Who is the pack leader? I need to know who's the brainiac behind the schemes and why one of them has his brain just up for grabs there. And why do they kill each other off on evolution? Like, what is this shit?